Donald Trump was in court today, and what an absolute disaster. Before we begin, if you guys could hit the like button down below, I would appreciate it. It does help out the channel. So, what a disaster. So let's just give some backstory. This case is about a payment that was made to Michael Cohen to pay off Stormy Daniels. Now, if that payment was reimbursement, it violates election laws. Donald Trump gets 34 felony counts. If it is a legal expense, Donald Trump walks away innocent. And so the question in this entire case is, was this payment reimbursement to Michael Cohen for paying Stormy Daniels? Because that was technically an illegal campaign contribution from an LLC that he had set up to deal with it. Donald Trump is alleging it's legal fees on it, obviously. But last week, Michael Cohen was questioned on this very issue of the call that was made to Donald Trump, and basically telling him that the Stormy Daniels issue had been handled. Michael Cohen is claiming that it's on a specific date. The only problem is the only phone call that could be attributed to that call that day was only 1 minute and 36 seconds long, and the defense presented a text message to Keith Schiller talking about Michael Cohen's 14-year-old stalker. And the defense brought up, how could you talk about this and to Donald Trump at the same time if you made a call to Keith Schiller? The call was to Keith Schiller, and he said they were in the same room together. And so he talked to Keith Schiller, turned around and talked to Donald Trump. The defense claims that never happened, right? And so it was points for the defense. In the hours of testimony from Michael Cohen, mostly boring. That one specific instance has been harped on. It's not necessary for convicting Donald Trump. There is a lot of evidence outside of this, but it is a big key piece of evidence to have Michael Cohen here. And so the defense harbored on that. Now, the problem is that today, the prosecution brought with them photos that showed that Keith Schiller and Donald Trump were with each other the entirety of the day. Now, they basically had worked it into one still photo in the examination, or in the when they were questioning Michael Cohen, but did show that Keith Schiller and Donald Trump were in fact in the same room on the day that Michael Cohen says they were. So this kind of undermines that that Michael Cohen lied, and quite frankly disrupts the entire narrative that Donald Trump was trying to paint, where he had no idea, the call never happened that day, or it had something to do with something else. Now, the Trump the Trump defense, knowing that there was an issue with their new legal theory, decided, I guess we'll bring in Bob Costello. And Bob Costello turned the courtroom into an absolute nightmare for Donald Trump. First things first is that Bob Costello seemed to imply or say that Michael Cohen told to him after Michael Cohen was raided by the FBI that, hey, Michael Cohen said, I swear to God, this is according to Bob Costello, I swear to God I have nothing on Donald Trump, as the FBI was raiding him. And so the very obvious question there was Michael Cohen just trying to cover his ass from getting in trouble with Donald Trump at that point? The answer is probably yes. And Bob Costello later went on to reiterate, to confirm testimony he gave in which he said that he wasn't sure if Michael Cohen was serious or if he was being dramatic or if he was whatever he was, right? Whether or not he had information on Donald Trump and the crimes that he had committed. So that kind of fell flat on its face. It really didn't land. But making matters worse is Bob Costello turned the courtroom into an absolute laugh fest. He got into it with the judge. Not that they were laughing, just we can laugh at it because it's funny when bad things happen to Donald Trump. Bob Costello got in a stare down with Juan Marchand, and they had to clear the room for the jury. Also, Bob Costello tried to get up at one point and got admonished, and a whole host of things. But basically, in front of the jury, uttered Jesus under his breath when there was a stream of objections coming in. And Juan Marchand was obviously not particularly happy. But the entire premise is Trump took Bob Costello and attempted to put him on the stand to undermine, probably at the direction of Donald Trump, because it doesn't seem like a move that defense attorneys would make, as I've been reading a lot of analysis on this. So probably at the whim of Donald Trump, thought putting Bob Costello on the stand would be a great idea. But if anything, it helped Michael Cohen's testimony, because you have Bob Costello now getting yelled at by the judge and now staring down the judge, and it looks absolutely horrible. I will say that last week on my live stream, I stated that it did not look good for Michael Cohen at all. I gave it a 50-50 as to whether or not Trump would be convicted. I think today, after seeing all this, I think it's far more likely that Donald Trump is going to be convicted. Probably 70 to 80%, somewhere in there. Again, could be wrong, but I would say that it's somewhere in there, at least of what the case appears. If this was anybody other than Donald Trump, they'd be convicted. But that's another thing. The concern that I have about the jury is that the jury believes that the charges against him are, I don't think they're going to get confused about what the charges are. They have two lawyers on the jury. But my concern is that they believe that the charges against Donald Trump are not significant enough to convict a former and president and someone that's former president that's running for president even, and so that they opt to throw out the charges. We'll obviously see. It looks like this case is coming to a rapid end, and hopefully it ends with a conviction of Donald Trump. If it ends with an acquittal, I suspect that it's going to help Donald Trump politically as he rolls into November. It's going to give his base a lot of fire, a lot of fuel to add to their fire in terms of what they're saying about, false prosecutions and the jury, look, they can see right past all of the fake prosecution stuff without even understanding what this case is about. At any rate, horrific day for Donald Trump. Not good. We'll see how the next couple ones go. This case could wrap up in the next week or two. So y'all have a good one. See you on the next one.